anyways, but this morning, you guys, we actually want to start off with a little bit of an analogy or a story to kind of jump into the principle that we're going to talk about this morning. You guys like stories? You like stories? Okay. Well, this story, if we gave it a title, would be called The Tragedy on Pleasure Island. Okay? The Tragedy on Pleasure Island. Now, let me tell you guys a little bit about this story here. You see, there's basically these adventurers that kind of go out and they're kind of sailing around and seeking what they might find. And all of a sudden, as they're out sailing around, they come upon this island. And it's a really big island, and it looks like a very good find. And so they kind of get out and start exploring this island, and they realize that, man, this island is like perfect for settling and creating an amazing society. And so they settle on this island, and they begin to kind of make a civilization for themselves and begin to explore the land a little bit more. And the more they do this, the more they explore, they actually find out that God has really blessed them with an amazing, amazing island. I mean, on this island, there's all types of gold and gems and oil and all these different things that's necessary to make a society prosperous. And so these guys actually take full advantage of all of these things. I mean, they operate a society on godly principles. They use good work ethic. You know, they've got honor, integrity in their society, all this stuff. And so as they do, God continues to bless them. And they actually end up coming up with all these different inventions and all these different new ways of commerce and trade. And they build factories and they build all these different things. In fact, they became so successful that they begin to ascend above all the other islands on the earth. In fact, these guys became so successful that they actually became known all around the world as Treasure Island. Because here's the thing, these guys literally began to have so much treasure as God continued to bless them. They had more and more treasure, more and more success, that they literally got to the point they had so much treasure, they didn't know what to do with it all. And the whole world would look at these guys and they would just call, man, these guys are like Treasure Island, they have so much. And so there came a point, as all of this excess started to pile up on Treasure Island, that they had to make a decision. You know, what are we going to do with all of this excess that we have? And so, they said, well, there's other islands around us maybe that need some help and things like that. But you know what? I mean, after all, hasn't God given us this treasure for ourselves? You know what we should do with all of our excess treasure? We should just spend it on pleasure and fun. I mean, we're just going to go after every little thing that we think might make us happy, might give us any bit of self-gratification. We're going for it. So these guys actually ended up kind of making this thing where they pursued pleasure at all costs. I mean, whatever it took, man, they were going to parties, they were doing all types of stuff. These guys actually pursued pleasure so much that their name actually changed about how they were known by the rest of the world. They used to be known as Treasure Island, but these guys started pursuing pleasure so much they actually changed their name from Treasure Island to Pleasure Island. Because here's the deal. On Pleasure Island, it was always a party, 24/7. I mean, these guys went after everything they could, indulgences of every kind. I mean, talk about food. We all need food to live, right? But these guys overindulged themselves in food. I mean, until they just stuffed themselves over and over. You know, we need clothes to live, but these guys went after so many clothes, they actually had to build new rooms in their houses just to hold all the excess clothes that they had. They needed all the latest gadgets. I mean, they would come out with something new, and then as soon as they had it, they would 2 weeks later, we got to have something more. More is always better, right? They came up with all types of entertainment and things like that. They created all kinds of fake worlds so they could escape reality and just have more and more fun. You know, in fact, some people went so extreme, they actually got hooked on drugs and alcohol, altering the state of their mind at any cost just to have a little bit more pleasure. And here's the thing, when you looked at these guys, man, it looked like a party was going on 24/7 on Pleasure Island. But really, when you looked a little closer, nobody was really having any fun. You see, the truth of the matter was this, that as they began to overindulge themselves more and more, that there began to be side effects to their greed. You see, the more they overindulged themselves and overeating, things like that, they actually began to create new diseases for themselves. Things like heart disease and diabetes, things that were scarcely found, if at all, on any other island around the world. The more they begin to pursue this keeping up with the Joneses, having the latest, greatest stuff all the time, people begin to exploit them, creating new fashions, new styles, new trends, so fast that even in their excess, they couldn't keep up with getting the latest thing. And then in the midst of all of their plenty, because of what they saw around them, they felt like they had nothing, and they began to become depressed. You know, the entertainment that they sought, these fake worlds, became more and more